Well, hello and good morning. Happy Friday to you all. We are here on Propel today and so excited that you are going to be joining us for this edition and this episode of Propel, where we'll be talking to Lalanni Jones, who is one of the 2021 honorees for Making History in Hills right here in Dallas, Texas on Sunday, March 28th. We are celebrating year four. We have six unstoppable women that will be honored for the work that they are doing in their respective areas. And I'm just so excited to be a part of this work, to be the visionary for this work, to have been entrusted, with this work. And once again, it is just something that really fuels me and excites me. And it is, something that I find great enjoyment in. So I'm Stephanie Morrow, founder at Transformation Living Systems, which is a personal development and training company really centered around the mission of building women from the inside out. And I often say that, when we start out on these journeys, or just whatever it could be to start a business, it could be to work with a cause or an organization, or really kind of find that space in life that resonates with us. There are lots of challenges that we face as women. And so, one of the things that I realized when I started several years ago is that I needed a safe space, a network of women who were doing similar work and who, I could connect with and who could be a resource for me and me to them. And we could, empower and support each other in our endeavors. And so when we think about, transformation living systems, we're working on building women from the inside out. There's so much focus on the exterior of how we show up, how we look, or how the brand looks, to those looking in. But I believe that it is the inside is where the greatest work is to be done. And so that's really kind of our focus at Transformation Living Systems. And so about 4 years ago, we started this event, Making History in Hills, which is our marquee event. We've, done several things, but this would be considered our marquee event each year. And it was really created to design a platform for local women to be recognized and honored and celebrated, because I felt like so many of those women may not have been, big celebrities, or, big Instagram or social media sensations, or they're not sitting in the garden with Oprah, all these things that we, aspire to, or that we, call success, but they are still successful in their own right. They are doing incredible things and they are making a difference. And so I wanted to create something for local women right here in our backyard that are doing some great things. And so a couple of years ago, we opened up the platform and started receiving nominations. And so those that are connected to the work had an opportunity to nominate incredible women. And I'm so grateful for that, because I've had the opportunity to meet women like we're going to be talking to today, Lalanni Jones, and so many others, through other women that have been a part of the work, that have, followed the work or supported the work or been honored through the work. And so it's just been, really great to just kind of watch it grow. It's like a baby. It just changes and, gets a little more hair every year and a couple more teeth and starts to walk and talk. And so they're very excited. So as I said, Lalanni Jones is just a powerhouse. She is CEO at Mogul 247, which is a collection of companies really centered around the mission of leading and, leading in the community and providing opportunities to others. And so that, that group of companies ranges from home health care organizations to child care organizations. She is truly a mogul and has her hands in a little bit of everything. So we're going to be getting into that with her in just a minute. So good morning, Lalanni. Welcome to Propel and congratulations.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes. So talk to us a little bit, just right off the bat, Leilani, about what it means to be unstoppable. This year's theme is the unstoppable woman. So what does that really mean when you hear that?
Well, for me, it resonates as tenacious, onward going. You have obstacles, but it's how you deal with them and you work around the obstacles. You have to be ferocious. You have to be fearless. You have to walk in the dark when you don't see the light. And you have to understand that every situation may not be the ideal situation, how you want it to turn out, but it's going to resolve itself one way or another. And you have to be at peace with that and know that you need to continue on, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. You mentioned the F word, ferocious. Just having that grit, that ability to stick
Right.
to a thing over time. And one of the ways that I think that we're able to build that is when we're able to focus on that thing that we've been called to do. Part of the reason I feel like we can find ourselves all over the place and we don't have the ability to stick to something long term is because it's just something that we do in the moment. It may not be that thing, that God thing that we were really created to do. I often say there are good things and there are God things. And the God things for me are the things that stay with me, that keep me up at night, that won't let me rest, that won't let me quit or won't let me stop. Good ideas come and go all the time, but it is those, that divine inspiration that I think allows you to hold on and get back up the next time and try again and do some of those things that you talked about. So talk to us, tell us a little bit about Mogul 247. As I said, I know that you have, several companies that you're leading. So talk to us a little bit about the Mogul 247 brand and what that work is and how that work began.
Okay. Mogul 247 is an umbrella company for all of my other companies that fall under it. That encompasses home health, hospice, that encompasses daycares, that encompasses the skincare line I'm working on, and any other projects that we work on that fall up under there. Uh, I've got a book, Sugar Mama. All of that falls under my Mogul 247 parent company, and it's an outlet to do other things with my other companies and with my brand.
Good
So,
deal. So
yeah.
what in terms of your background, like how did your background, your professional background really prepare you to serve in this role as the CEO of this conglomerate really of companies?
Right. Well, I don't have the typical story where someone has worked at a Fortune 500 company and they've had the experience and they've been under someone. All of my experience is homegrown, so to speak. I do have the education, but it was the school of hard knocks and learning, trial and error, a lot of errors to get to other successes. And you're always recreating the formula. There's not one consistent formula that works. So, it's been years. It's been my lifetime in the making of what it's become. I'm fortunate enough to be able to say that I never really worked for anyone else. Those times were just so minuscule, in my overall career that it's not even. And there was a good foundation, but I can't say that, it prepared me for any of the things that were to come and that I couldn't foresee and didn't know. So it's definitely not a traditional route that I've taken personally, but it's rewarding. It's definitely rewarding. And I wouldn't trade anything for my journey. I've learned so much along the way. And there are things that I wouldn't know working at a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah, it's kind of like on the ground, on the boots, boots on the ground, training on the job. What
24/7.
24/7, building the plane. We're building the plane while we're flying the plane,
Right,
on the way, hey, leap, Les Brown says, leap and grow your wings on the way down. So
right.
we're literally figuring it out. So, talking about that, because I know for, many of us that are, in that space of, building something and, especially being the first to do that sometimes in a family or in a generation, we don't have a lot of um, support or really a pattern to follow. So we have to figure things out or, hire the help to teach us along the way because we are becoming the prototype. So talk a little bit about what some of the challenges have been for you moving into this space, of just creating this group of companies and what you've had to learn and what some of those challenges have been and how you've moved through them.
Okay. Well, I grew up watching my mother as an entrepreneur, and my first business was with my mother. So I was fortunate in the sense that I knew the industry by the time I did something. But industry regulations change, things change. dealing human resources. That's not even something we really think about when we're small companies. And as we grow, those things become super important, just like marketing, advertising. So it was learning all of those pieces and how's this going to work. And now we've added social media. That's how old I really am. We didn't even have social media in the platform. So it's just been a journey, a welcome journey, but you do have to stay astute in your industry to what's going on so that you know and you can keep up. It's changing every day, different things, and coming into perspective with the times, being able to tap into multi generations of people and forge your business. It's way different than it was in the late 80s and early 90s. I moved from a typewriter to total automation. And when I tell my teams that, when we're talking about things, they all laugh because I said, I know some of you don't know, and they don't know what a typewriter is.
Never seen it.
Right. And then, like a typewriter, but moving from a typewriter to total automation and being fluent in computers, that's something that you have to keep up with no matter what industry you are in. And I would say that's one of the biggest things, but you need a mentor or someone you can bounce your frustration and your ideas off of that won't necessarily criticize you, but may help guide you into a better decision making process, because things are going to come up, things are going, to happen as you travel through whatever industry it is, and your family doesn't always understand.
Right. That's right.
Especially if you're a first generation,
Absolutely.
business person, they might be like, go get a job,
Yes.
like that. You
Yes.
would have that. And that's not what you need to hear, because you need to be committed to your purpose and your dream so that you're following through. Just
Yeah.
know it's not going to be easy, and every day is a new day. So you've got the challenges of what that brings, but what did you do to make it better?
Yeah.
And you've got to
And
analyze yourself consistently.
yeah, and I like that you talked about being able to grow and evolve, with the times and change. And that's so important because, I often say you don't have to stay how you start. And so
Right,
sometimes we start a thing or, we start an endeavor and we're so hell bent on having it be that way. And things have changed. For example, the pandemic. The
right,
pandemic has changed so much of how we do everything, schooling and just so there has not been one industry, and we, my husband and I talk about it all the time. Everyone was touched by this pandemic.
absolutely,
When you are talking about having a funeral for a loved one on Zoom, and you cannot physically be there to grieve and console your family. I mean, like, who would imagine?
right. I
So
was going to say,
yeah, we're going to church online. We're going, I was on
right,
with someone in the beauty industry yesterday, and they were talking about, stylists were making these to-go kits, for clients because they couldn't get clients in the, salons during the shutdown. And, so everyone, I think the pandemic has, been a blessing and a curse. And one of the blessings is that it has forced innovation and creativity, in ways that, sometimes, kind of helping us really push out some of those outdated practices, or
right,
just to refine what we're doing. Is there a better way? Is there a more cost effective or more time effective way to do the work, whatever that work is? And so I like that you touched on that, because I think it's so important that we do that. Now, the pandemic forced us to do it, but we don't always want to have to be forced. Sometimes we want to be able to, to initiate that change and effectuate that change and be so in tune with what we're doing that we perceive that it's time to, to change or to shift or that type of thing. And
right. But it was definitely a wake up call for the world. I mean, look what we got out of it, the Black Lives Matter movement, things that we wouldn't have paid as close of attention as we were able to because of the pandemic. A vaccine in the shortest amount of time that's ever been done. And I'd like to take the opportunity to plug the vaccine. If you haven't gotten it, please register to get it. And it's
absolutely.
free. Yes, get the vaccine. I hear a lot of resistance, especially among young people. Oh, I don't want to get it. And they've got all these conspiracy theories going. But the vaccine is something that the entire world needs to get so that we can eradicate COVID. And
I
so
believe so.
yes, I'd rather see you alive than to hear a story, about you passing from having
Yes.
something that's preventable.
Yeah, and I approve that message. I've been vaccinated. I'm waiting on my second dose,
Me
and
too.
I realize that it's a personal choice, but I agree with you. I think
Right.
that we should, make informed decisions. And the conspiracy theorists on Facebook, that's not informed. That's not good information.
Right.
People are fear mongering and sharing bad information, and so, do a little research, understand the process. This process for creating a vaccine has been very different than with other types of vaccines,
Yes.
for one, which has allowed the process to be a lot faster than it, was. I hear that a lot with people. Oh, it was too fast, so something must be wrong with it. We've got all these ideas. So, just be informed so that you can make an empowered decision for you, and for your family. And then, the other part of that is at the end of the day, learning to respect people's choices. You
Right.
know, I hate this culture that we're in that is just constantly looking to, create dissension. If you say up, then we say down. If we say left, you say right. If we say on, you say off. Like there's just this culture of contradiction, is what I call it. That's
Mhm.
really here today, and it separates us. I believe it's the basis of a lot of the, just a lot of the division that we experience, even when we think about things like race and different people's spiritual beliefs and what they, just give people their space and let them be. Let
Right.
them be,
Right.
and just help to honors people's ability to choose, because ultimately that is what makes us humans. Is we have the right to choose, and
Right.
so
That's how we were able to choose a new president. So,
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
you
So
got to
choice.
respect the right to choice.
Yeah, right. We have to respect each other's right to choose. So, Leilani, you talked a little bit about some of the different things, that you've done, and, some of the different services that you provide. What would you say has been the greatest reward in your work?
Well, I can't sum it up, and my work is still evolving. So
Yes.
I can't necessarily sum it up in the greatest reward or what's been the best. But one thing that I do love about all of my work is seeing the rewards for the people. I always say that your life is not necessarily for you, it's for you to be in service to others. And so I have a lot of employees that I make it happen for through my companies. And I service the community at my patients, my children that I care for at the daycare. Those things are rewarding at the end of the day for me personally, to know that I am able, to be a conduit for them and an extension of their lives in some shape, form, or fashion. So, whether it's paying their bills at home, or you can go to work because I'm taking care of your child, or your parents' life is extended a little because my nurses are taking good care of you, whatever it is, or in my hospice, that your loved one has been able to die with dignity and death because they've respected the philosophy and the principles that go with that. So it just depends. I get calls or texts or emails about the Sugar
Wow.
Mama book, how people love it. And I was just surprised when that was my first book, working with my co-author, and I'm still getting calls about it. It dropped April 1st. We are working on sequels. So it just depends on what you're talking about. The Daddy Daughter Experience Project, which is near and dear to my heart. I love that. I love that project and the impact
Yes.
of it and what it has. So we got shut down by COVID. Last year was going to be our first year at Disney, and we weren't able to, of course,
Yes. I
because of
remember that.
yeah, so looking forward to building on that. I love the dads that have participated in the things that we've done, and just an awakening for girls to know that their fathers are there,
Mhm.
and that it's viable relationships, healthy relationships, and it's not everything you hear, and it's not the stereotype of the Black community. We have loving fathers. And of course, my organization is open up to everyone, but we do concentrate on African American fathers and their daughters. But
Absolutely.
it's just, I get rewarded in all of those things in different ways.
Yeah. And just that service, it's crazy because in all of these interviews that I've done with honorees, that is a common theme in their
Oh,
work is the service and the just the call to serve and whatever that looks like. And it can look a lot of different ways, but there's just so much joy in being of service, because leadership is about service, and I've
right.
always, had people, sometimes I'll talk with people that say, I really don't know what my purpose is, or I don't know what I've been called to do or designed to do. And I always say there's going to be service involved. Like
Right.
it's going to be something outside of yourself. It's going to be something bigger than just are able to benefit from. And so look for what that service could look like. It could look a lot of different ways. And
Right,
so,
it can, but as a leader, it's getting to the point where you realize that. I see so many young managers or young leaders trying to do something and they don't get it. Their foundations and principles in leadership, and if you don't have the basics of that, it's going to be a very difficult road to you for you. And
absolutely.
part of that is the service. It's you always hear the my way, this and that, my way, and but that's not what leadership is about. You have to be able to take on a team, even if your team is only two people.
Right.
You have to figure out how you're going to work and drive towards the missions and the goals of the organization to achieve the outcomes that you want to achieve. And
Absolutely.
so I'm very passionate about leadership, strong leadership, and that's a conversation we could have all day. But
Yeah, yeah, I understand it. I too am a leadership advocate, and I believe that the basis of leadership starts with self. And so,
right,
for me, this idea of self leadership is really the core. And I've worked in spaces and I've worked with leaders and under leaders that didn't understand the idea and the concept of self leadership really preceding all other levels of leadership. And what I have found is that those that had a very strong sense of self influence and self discipline and self leadership, they made the best leaders in spaces and in organizations. And those that struggled with self leadership, meaning that you're, really not leading and living by example, always had, problems connecting and motivating others in the organization,
right.
to goals like you talked about. So, um,
Right, because the ownership and accountability are the number one principles. You
yes,
have to take ownership for everything that happens on your team, regardless of whether or not you were the cause or effect of it, because it's coming from your teachings. And
absolutely.
once you subscribe to that and handle your business, you'll have
Yeah.
a better team.
Yes, yes. So, Leilani, as we wrap up today, talk a little bit about what is next. What are some things that are coming down the pipe that
Well,
listeners
as we're coming out of
about?
COVID, we've got a lot of different things, but the biggest thing, two of the bigger things that I'm excited about, well, there's three things actually that I'm excited about. One is a podcast that we're
Yes,
developing. Yeah, so it's still in the developmental phase, so you'll have to follow on my social media handles. But we're going to film for that podcast, I think, at the end of next month. So I'm excited. We're getting all of that together. Something like Big Texas Talks or something like that is what we're going to do. The other thing that I'm excited about, we're working on the sequel to Sugar Mama and the third book. So that, and the other thing that I'm excited about is I'm going to add a pediatric program
oh,
this year
wow.
to my line of service, which you probably don't know, but my company, we do, it's African American owned, of course, by me, but we do home health care, which are traditional services with skilled nursing and therapies. We do primary care, which is a Medicaid based program for non skilled care and care attendants. And we do hospice, which is end of life. So adding the pediatric services that will include the MDCP program and taking care of children from infancy, but we're also going to add a pediatric hospice. And so that's something people don't like to talk about, but
Yeah.
this program is going to be phenomenal, servicing children, and I'll be the only African American woman in this area that's got all four services. So
Wow.
I'm super stoked about that. I'm just trying to find the right staff to bring the programs together,
Yes.
take care of the babies, and just, go from there. Go from there. But yeah,
Wow.
those are
That
those
is
are the things that I'm really excited about right
that
now.
is the epitome of history making in heels. Like making history to be the first African American female agency to really offer, that span of services, I think is just
Right.
it's incredible. And that is the type of work and influence that this platform was created to, bring awareness to and to shine the light on. So I am just so excited and, just pray continued blessings for you and all of your new endeavors. We look forward to connecting with you guys on Sunday. We
Yeah.
still have a few seats available. So if you're watching and you're thinking about joining us, I think we're down to about 3 seats that we still have available. You can go to stephaniemara.com and grab a seat and be there with your fabulous heels on to meet Lalanni and the other
Yes.
unstoppable women. It is going to be a very small and intimate event. We're still going to be at the 50% capacity because of COVID. We just didn't feel safe opening, up to 100% capacity. So we'll be, social distancing and masking and all of that great things. But it's just going to be a great time of celebration of just, all of the incredible things. And, I often say that there are so many negative images of us as women and especially as women of color in mainstream media. And so for me, this work is part of, changing that narrative and changing, that thought process about who we are and what we do, as women and especially as Black women. And so I am just so honored, as I said, at the top of this broadcast, to really spearhead and to be the visionary around this work and to bring these incredible women together. And so, I was just telling someone last night, Lalanni, is that, every year there's people connect, and I believe that people sometimes have a piece to a puzzle that we need. And so,
Right.
for me, it's an honor to just be a gatherer and connector of women. And so, who knows? There may be someone in the room on Sunday that has a piece to your puzzle for what's next for you. So, who knows? Or you for them, or that kind of thing. So, just looking forward to it. So, again, thank you, Leilani, for being here. I appreciate all that you do. Super glad to be connected with you and to have you a part of this network of high achieving women. Guys, it is Friday. I don't know where you are, but I'm here in Midlothian and it is an absolutely incredible day. So
Right.
go out, enjoy the day, get some sunshine, do something that you love, spend time with someone that you love. I appreciate you guys. Also take a moment to share, to share this broadcast. I'll also put the link to Leilani's website, the Mogul 247, in the chat, so you can go there and click on the link and go through her site and learn a little bit more about some of the things that she has going on. Maybe you have need for some of the services that she offers, and you can go there and learn a little bit more about her work. So, again, thank you guys for being here. Happy Friday, and we'll see you guys next time on Propel.
All right. Thank